All right, over here on top of the roof in Garfield Heights on August 3rd, we got asphalt fiberglass shingles here. Looks like one layer on the roof. It's probably somewhere between 15 to 20 years old, and it's a 30-year shingle, so it's not necessarily at the end of its life or anything, but it's not a very new roof. With that said, I can see it looks like the wind down here in the front left corner valley of the home took away one of the little small starter shingles there. That's most likely not going to result in too much sort of potential roof leakage, but we're still going to recommend that small little shingle piece be replaced by a licensed roofing contractor. Otherwise, you can see up here on the front ridge dormer, there's a few nail heads that are slightly exposed. We just always say seal them up so they don't become an eventual leakage path. It's not too big of a deal, but nonetheless, it's worth noting that they ought to be resealed here. The roof on this side here, so we're at the chimney, the power ventilator, and the plumbing vent. A couple things I noticed. Easy repairs. You can easily have a roofing contractor, or anyone for that matter, come over here and reseal up these little cracks in the chimney cement crown or the cement wash. And what that'll do is prevent water from getting down into the chimney here and potentially getting inside of these bricks and starting to flake or spall them away. So again, real easy repair here, just sealing up these chimney cement crown gaps. Also, I noticed the flashing. I don't think it really appears to be leaking too much, or nor will it be when I get into the home, but I can see the step tins here, the step flashing, which is exposed. Typically this counter flashing, or the big open flat metal piece on the outside of these step tins, should usually come all the way down to cover up these step tins so no water can get back up in between the step flashing here. It's most likely not leaking, but I'm still going to say that it would be a good idea to have a roofing contractor come on out here and replace this this counter flashing to cover down over these little gaps here in the step tins. And this is on both sides of the chimney, as you can see. In this case, it's actually not even sealed. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's in poor condition, but replacing this counter flashing wouldn't be a very bad idea. I would absolutely recommend it in any inspection that I do, because you know, if there does become a little bit of potential roof leakage around the chimney chase, by all means it's going to come from water intrusion behind these step tins, because the counter flashing doesn't come all the way down. So with that said, regarding the chimney, we've got seal up a couple gaps on the chimney cement crown, and consider having a licensed roofing contractor come over here and repair or replace this counter flashing, or the outside big long flat metal piece on the chimney flashing. Otherwise, coming down here to the plumbing boot, you've got pretty good looking rubber plumbing boot here. It almost looks like it had been replaced more recently than when the roof was installed, but the plumbing vent looks great here. Cast iron drain coming out, which is pretty typical for a 1950s style bungalow. I can also see just a couple small holes in the shingles around here, which I don't think you really need to replace these shingles for that, but it would be a great idea to seal up any small holes or openings in these shingles and the valley flashing to prevent any water from getting through to the roof. And the reason I say that is because I'm here at the valley flashing, which is this big metal flashing piece down the front right side of the home if you're looking at it from the street. I can also see a couple small cuts or incisions here into the valley flashing. I'm not quite sure what that came from, but these you know, the roof is typically going to drive water to this valley flashing right here. So when we're driving all this water right down in the bottom of the valley, and we've got some pretty easy to get into holes, I would absolutely recommend repairing or sealing up these holes here in the valley flashing, and as well as a couple of those other holes that we had seen up there near the chimney. A couple small little pieces of damage here and there. Also on the front lower eave side of the home, I would consider you know, repairing or just resealing, as well as some of these damaged shingles down here by the front side of the home by my ladder. Also, due to all the shade that shows up right here, just got a little bit of moss. This moss is pretty easy. I can actually remove it manually with my hands, and there's not a whole lot of it that's built up, so that's not much of a concern. But in the future, if you ever do encounter a lot of moss all over here, you know, any shady areas of the roof, I would consider spraying it down with like a wet and forget or a spray and forget. These chemicals you can easily find at it's just a moss or a mildewcide. You can easily find these at like even Drug Mart. I've seen spray and forget and wet and forget. or Home Depot, kind of near the roofing section. So again, in summary, you know, we got asphalt fiberglass shingles up here, one layer, about 15 to 20 years old. There's one small missing shingle on the front left side of the home. There's a little bit of repair we can do to the counter flashing of the chimney, as well as repairing any gaps in the chimney cement crown up there. With that said, I would also absolutely consider sealing these small holes in the valley flashing here on the front side of the home, as well as any other small holes that you find as you move around here on the roof, such as any exposed nail heads and any small holes in the shingles. So with that said, I mean, small roof tune-up would be a pretty good idea, but the roof's in pretty good shape other than that. So that's the roof here. Thank you.